Customer said the Massey just caught on fire. Oh no. Not good. Had some more flames back behind there. Hey, welcome back to ZK Master Tech. Continuing the Harvest Service Calls series, we're going to kick it off with a 7930 tractor that is throwing an ECU code 636.10, which is camshaft signal missing or improper data or whatever that is. But it's a common issue that I see on these 6.8 liter engines. A couple other technicians, including another dealer, has looked at this tractor. It throws this code and it also was running rough. I think the other dealer ended up putting some position sensors on it, like a cam and crank sensor. I'm not sure if they did the crank, but they probably did the cam shaft position sensor. And then another tech from our store came up here and put a suction control valve on the pump because it was low power, smoking black, bad throttle response. And the tractor ran good for like 3 weeks after he put that suction control valve. Well, now the code for the camshaft position sensor is back. So now I'm going to get involved and I'm going to take a look at this thing and see what we can come up with. But I almost bet you that we have electromagnetic interference from the current of the suction control valve interfering with the signal of the camshaft position sensor. That's kind of my guess for today. We'll see if I'm right. Here she is. What a beaut. So what have they done? Yeah, I can see the new suction control valve, but it looks like we have all the original wiring intact. Okay. So I'm getting connected up here with Service Advisor. Customer hasn't started it yet because he said the problem usually happens when you first start it in the morning and then it might not do it the rest of the day. But it's got an extended crank. He said it takes about 8 seconds before it fires. So if we are missing that cam signal, it will have an extended crank before it fires. So I'm going to get hooked up here and we're going to look at some data while we crank it for the first time so we can hopefully catch what's going on here. So here's the codes that popped up here. These are the two we're worried about, the 63608 signal camshaft signal missing and the 63610, the position signal rate of change abnormal. So it looks like they've stored 19 and 16 times here. All right, so we're going to record this data right here and watch it. Yeah, that's not good right there. That should be 0%. This should read 47, just like the crankshaft signal. And the code did go active. Well, alrighty then. So I moved the camshaft wires away from the suction control valve wires the most I can. Look, and this starts counting down from 100%, works all its way down to 0, and then boom, hits 47. Okay? Watch this. That's not one to change. All right, let me play back this recording for you. So right here, this is when we first started cranking, boom, that improper pattern indicator goes to 100%. Our signal status goes to 403. Notice our crank is sitting there right at 47 where it needs to be, and its improper pattern indicator is 0. Okay, so it's just sitting there, not where it needs to be. I'm watching it. I get out of the cab right here. I move the wires from the camshaft position away from the suction control valve. Watch what starts happening to the pattern indicator. Starts moving around, right? Eventually it goes to 0. Once it goes to 0, watch that signal status from 431, it'll go to 47C. Right there is absolutely perfect. That's what we want to see. And then I start messing around with it some more, wiggling it, making that value change. There's perfect. So here's our suction control valve. So we have current going into this, right? Which is creating an electromagnetic field around this wire. And our camshaft position wire is right here. See how that's getting close to that? Plus they go into the loom together. So we're going to try to eliminate this the best we can, and we're going to run a new twisted pair from the ECU down to the sensor. All right, well, I got a new twisted pair harness, this one right here, running all the way under the cab, coming back to the ECU. I found the green and orange wire coming out of the ECU, and we spliced onto there, and now we're going to see what happens. Okay, here we go. Look at that. Well, this thing runs a lot smoother now too. Let's try that again. Man, she's mint now. All right, well, it's been about a month now since I got these Brunt boots. Let me tell you about them. So I've been wearing the Mulder boots from Brunt for about a month now, and I couldn't be more impressed. They were super comfortable right out of the box, and I'd say they were fully broken in after just one day. That's something I really appreciate because every other brand I've tried had a long, painful break-in period. After 30 straight days of harvest service calls, I put these boots through about every situation you can imagine, and they performed absolutely perfectly. My feet stay dry, the slip oil and heat resistant soles are holding up great, and these boots are EH rated too. The waterproof construction works exactly like it should, and my feet definitely feel a lot better at the end of the day. It's hard to believe that you can get boots this nice at this price point. The value you get for your money with Brunt is on another level. Click the link in the description or scan the QR code on the screen and use my code ZKMasterTech to get $10 off your first purchase. Big thanks to Brunt for sending me these boots and keeping my feet nice and comfy throughout this harvest season. Now let's get back to the action. All right, well, I couldn't really video the rest of the day because out in the field, all you would have heard was this. Yeah, it was blowing wind like you would not believe, and you guys wouldn't have heard a word I said.
It isn't that the wind is blowing, it's what the wind is blowing.
But I went out and looked at an S780 that was having transmission supply pressure low codes, and I ended up diagnosing a bad clutch. The C91 clutch that operates first gear in your 5-speed, the clutch is blown because the pressure on that clutch is supposed to be 500 psi at the test port right there by the cab wall, and it was 160 psi. So when I would watch PTP address 82, which was my trans supply pressure, it'd be 30 running, 30 with the separator engaged, but whenever I engaged the header in first gear, it would tank down to like 25 and then it would set the code. So pressure tested that port. Yep, it's bad. So that combine's gonna have to come back here and we're gonna have to yank the 5-speed out of it and tear it down and get down to that C91 clutch that's probably blown and burnt up. And
oh, well,
oh boy,
oh mama,
yeah,
oh wow.
you know, but we're probably going to check the rest of the clutches while we're in there too. Anyway, I already got one combine fixed this morning. Had a code ECU 1180.00, turbine inlet temperature high. It was just a blown clamp on the charge air cooler hose right at the charge air cooler, and put a new clamp on, and also had a leaking coolant line going to the top of the coolant tank. Fixed that. Now she's cherry. Look at that little guy, a little 9570, just mowing down corn with an 8-row. Now the next service call, we got a 9620RX that's got a fuel dosing code, so it's got a 15-liter Cummins in it. Let's go see what this thing's doing. There it is. Correction, it's a 9570R, not a 9620RX. The boys in the office had the wrong tractor, and good thing I called the customer, and he told me no, it's the 9570R, because the 9620's running out in the field, and I was driving to the wrong tractor, so found it. Alright, tell me where it hurts, little fella. Guess today's the 9570 day. Worked on 9570 STS, now we're on a 9570R. Oh, dang it. Fuel dosing pressure low. I hate it when that happens. That's all you're mad about? Fine. Well, the first thing you do is check for any external leaks. So right here is our fuel dosing manifold. And all the electrical connections seem to be good. I don't see any leaks there, and that line goes up and around the head and goes back to right there is our fuel injector. I don't see any leakies anywhere there. So this code, you actually have to complete a regen in order for it to clear. The customer said he changed the fuel filters hoping that it would fix it, but of course it hasn't ran a regen since. So I decided to run a regen. We'll just see what the pressure is. But look, we've got fuel dosing pressure. So I'm going to continue to monitor this, let it do a regen, and we'll just see what happens. Well, the code went away, and it's working just fine. We got fuel pressure. The signal voltage looks good. I already got another service call to go in after this one. I'm pretty sure this thing's going to be okay once it gets done regenning, but I guess I got a 9560R that died and will not restart. Who knows what that could be. Well, it completed the regen and the code cleared, and I was looking at the data and everything seemed to be working just fine, so I guess we're just going to send it and see what happens. I guess the customer might have fixed the problem by changing the fuel filters, because if the fuel filter does get plugged up, it can affect the after treatment fuel dosing system, so maybe it just needed a regen after that. Well, I found the next tractor. I drove to the pin that my service manager gave me, and there's just a small field on the side of the road, and tractor wasn't there. And so I called the customer. He's like, no, you got to take that little path through the woods, and it goes down into a bottom. Then the tractor's way down in the bottom. Well, I found it. It's clear over there. And the field looks a little soft. So we got the hubs locked in on the ram. We're just going to send it. I know it's not going to like this soft chiseled ground. I'm going to try to go in this guy's tire tracks. Looks like I'm sinking about a foot. Boy, it's rough. Why'd it have to die clear in the back corner? Okay. Well, the customer told me that they had an issue with the injector connector coming loose before, and so I decided I'd jump up there and check it first. Look, it came unplugged. See? Not plugged in. She's getting the zip tie treatment.
You guys recycle?
Well, I put some new of those little Christmas tree fasteners that keep the connector down, those on, and then I zip tied around the latch where it can't lift up and come off. So if that's not secured, then this just sits here and vibrates, and then I think eventually the latch just kind of popped off because this connector is kind of messed up. And I got it, see right here, if you get it right around there to keep that locked down. That's what this red lock tab's for, is to keep that from raising up. But that tab is in, but it's still raised up on it, so I put a little zip tie here to keep that from coming off, and these connectors are now secure. So this is just a temporary solution until I can get two new connectors, because we really ought to put new male connectors right here so they'll latch correctly and not come apart. I bet you this thing fires right up now. Oh yeah, I bet it had a bunch of 650 codes stored in it from when that came unplugged. 4166 hours on it. This touchscreen doesn't work the best. Kind of does. I bet it's a bunch of ECU 651, 652, you know, a bunch of 650 codes. Probably injector has high resistance because it was open. Yeah, see? Oh, Pete's sake. Why? Go back. Why does this always happen? It always says a new device has been detected. I didn't even plug anything in. You always get where you want to be and then boop, disappears. Yeah, see? 651, so that's high resistance on injector 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, and it had an exhaust temperature high. Huh. Goodbye. No more codes. Let's get everything cleared out. But yeah, it runs like a champ. All the HPs. Mint. And off we go again. Jeez, look at the ruts I made. This truck just smashes that ground flat. It is beautiful out here though. Okay. Stay to the left. All right, got another service call. Got a DEF dosing unit fault on an S790, so see what that's all about. There it is. Customer said the Massey just caught on fire. Oh no. Not good. Had some more flames back behind there. Hit it with my fire extinguisher, got those flames out.
Maybe we finally got it.
Then we just had flames come up right here.
Yep.
Shot a bunch of water back in there. Kept getting flames coming up kind of by the fuel tank. We're hitting it with everything we've got. We're running out of fire extinguishers. The fire department's on the way. We keep getting smoke coming from out here. I don't see. You don't got any more flames, do you?
No.
I see smoke. Still got smoke, or is that dust?
I think it's dust. That dry chem get in there, it'll lay it down.
The pros are here now. Gonna douche it down with water. Keeps flaming up on us. Okay, that was exciting. I got that fire extinguisher chem taste in my mouth. That stuff is disgusting. So, I was working on the combine. I got up in the cab, I hooked up service advisor, and I turned the dosing pump on, and it pumped up to 130 psi like it was supposed to. I'm like, what the heck? I went back. I was going to check the connector on it, see if we had any corrosion on the depth dosing unit. Took it apart. It was fine. Then all of a sudden, the farmer was running up the engine compartment ladder. He says, I need this fire extinguisher. And he was grabbing the water extinguisher off the combine, and I happened to look across the standing corn, and I could see the Massey. You can see like the top of the Massey, and there was just smoke just coming out. It looked like it was coming right up the exhaust stack in the cab. So I jumped in my truck and I flew over there, and the guy that was operating the tractor was hitting it with his fire extinguisher, and I grabbed my fire extinguisher, and when I got up to it, he's like, I'm out, but there was still flames flashing. It was fully engulfed behind the fuel tank, kind of around the right side of the tractor, behind the fuel tank, right underneath the cab, around the batteries. It was just all up in flames right there, and I hit it with my fire extinguisher, and it went out, and we kind of was watching it, and then all of a sudden it flamed up behind the cab, right underneath the cab, right at the very back. Started flaming up there, so we're hitting it with the water extinguisher. We ended up using all of the water extinguisher, all of my extinguisher, and another extinguisher he had, and half of another one before the fire department got there. And by the time they got there, it was pretty much put out, but they just soaked it down with water, and then they hit it with the temp gun, made sure there wasn't any hot spots. They said they got everything down below 100 degrees. So yeah, so I went back to the combine and made sure everything was good on it, and I'm going to go ahead and just order a depth dosing unit just in case. One of our other stores had it, so I can transfer it for the morning. And yeah, well, he's just going to run it and see what happens. If the code comes back, we'll dive into it a little further. But you just never know what's going to happen. Now I need a new fire extinguisher, because I do not drive this truck around without a fire extinguisher on hand. I usually carry two, but I think I need to carry another one of those water extinguishers as well. All right, it's next morning. Got my fire extinguisher replaced, and I added a water extinguisher to the truck, so we're good to go for firefighting today. Just drove 100 and it was about 100 mile, wasn't it?
Yeah, give or take.
Hour and 40 minutes back down Southern Illinois, where it was I think in the last video. Got an 8R 410, and we're going to be yanking the whole entire seat out to replace the lower seat harness and the seat suspension frame. So But we're waiting on them. They're doing a clean out on the cart because their lime was so wet that it wasn't spreading this morning. So they're trying to get it unloaded before we do an operation on the seat. All right, got the new harness in. Runs from, you got this main connector, and then it runs down to here, and then this will plug into the floor. But this comes around, goes to your seat lowering valve right here, and then it comes down and goes to your compressor down there. So the problem was somewhere in here. It was either right here or right up in here, because when I wiggled this, I could get the compressor to turn on and off. All right, I got the seat all back together. We have compressor. And it lowers. And it moves back and forth. Make sure everything on the armrest works. Oh yeah. Yep. Shows gears. Should be good to go. Got that tractor done. Now we're off to a 9R590 that I diagnosed had a leaking AC line. I got Caleb with me today. I needed to bring him down here to help me lift all that heavy seat components in and out of the cab. So he's enjoying a delicious cinnamon roll from Hardee's right now. Is that tasty?
Oh, yeah.
Does that hit the spot? I didn't know you saved some for later.
No leftovers.
Next service call. Had to drive about 45 minutes to this one. I came here and previously diagnosed a AC leak because it was blowing hot air, and this line right here is leaking out the crimp, and it's just leaking refrigerant oil down the line. It's the high side line going from the compressor, comes down to right here, and I've got my mobile recovery machine right here because it still had, I don't know, about 60 psi in the system, static pressure. So I decided we're going to go ahead and recover it and get the pressure down, and then we'll replace that line, replace the receiver dryer here and the O-rings, and then we'll vacuum it down, and then we'll charge it to spec. Well, we've got the refrigerant recovered. Caleb's laying on the Persian rug, nice and comfy. He's working on some clamps on that line, and there was a clamp right here, but this has got a little Allen bolt in it. It looked like a 5. Oh yeah, like a glove. Take that guy out. The old Milwaukee extended ratchet came in clutch. Got to get these bolts out here. It's holding these line clamps in place. So here's that clamp that holds those hoses in. There's 4 bolts going through there, but then I had one squeeze bolt and the Titan wrench. Check out these little 1/4-inch swivel head ratchets you can get from O'Reilly's. They're like $11 and they're freaking awesome. That got in there. Got that. There was a nut on the top of that. Got that bolt out. Now we can squeeze that line through there. I just got to get it off the condenser here. Looks like a 7/8 maybe. Oh yeah, 7/8. Uh-oh. I'm gonna need some lube. It's doing something weird. I finally got that off there. I had to heat that fitting up with MAP gas. It was just tight the whole way coming off, and I didn't want to screw up those threads on the aluminum, so I was heating and lubing and wiggling it back and forth. Finally got it threaded off, and it looks okay. I don't know why it was so tight. Got it?
Yep.
She's a little hot on the end.
That'll be alright. Where is it stuck at?
Right here.
Oh.
Hold on. There.
Alright, got it.
All right, we got the line on, got the receiver dryer replaced, and we're putting a vacuum on the system, and we're gonna let that run for about 15 minutes and then we'll charge it up. We vacuumed it down, didn't have no leaks. So now we're charging it up to 4.5 pounds here. And I highly doubt we're gonna be able to get 4.5 pounds out of this tank today. Putting it in as liquid just statically right now, but it's 61 degrees outside, so 4.5 pounds in it, it's cooling good. Compressor cycling. It's gonna cycle here in a second. There it goes. Doesn't take a whole lot to cool the cab at 61 degrees outside, and it's pretty windy too, so it's kind of chilly. It's all done. You behave, big fella. All right, next morning, next service call. Looks like we got a 9RX 640 pulling an MT11. And it looks like she snail trailed all the way into the shed. And looks like we got a hydraulic line leak over here. Looks like it's coming from that right there. Yep, it's loose. Dang it. Alright, I got it fixed. Put a new O-ring on it, got everything all tightened up. Oh, would you look at that. Alright, I got that problem fixed. I had a heck of a time getting that hydraulic hose and that T-fitting all threaded back together, but I got it. It's done. No more leaky. I checked some of the other fittings that had some dust on them. They were tight. So I think we're good to go on that. Now we got a service call for a 9570R with a 15-liter Cummins, and it's setting an ECM 175.16 code, which is the engine oil temperature is high. So on those, if you overfill the engine oil, if you fill it all the way to the full mark, it'll actually be a little bit over full. You want to be right in the middle between the marks, because if the oil level's too high, that crankshaft's whipping through the oil a little too violently, foams up, and then, you know, it overheats the oil, just the crankshaft beating into the oil. So I had him lower the oil level down. He drained a gallon out, he said, and it still does it. And it's pretty cool out. It's only 42 degrees right now, so the engine oil shouldn't be overheating. So I don't know if we've got a sensor issue, possible oil thermostat issue. So I'm going to go take a look at it, make sure it's not a sensor. If the sensor is reading correctly, then we'll probably put an oil thermostat in it. Here it is. So here we got our oil temperature sensor just to the left of the oil filter. Put some flex probes on there and checking the resistance, and we're at right around 2,000 ohms, which is supposed to be, the range is 180 to 160,000 ohms, so I guess we're in range. So we're gonna have to go in and replace the oil thermostat, which is right here in this guy, but you gotta pull the water pump housing to get it in and out. I'm also gonna replace this water pump because it has been weeping. This belt shot, and we're going to put a thermostat in it too while we're at it and change all the coolant, and we're going to change the engine oil and filter, and then we'll see what happens. Well, I got parts ordered. We don't have everything to complete that job today, so I penciled that one in for tomorrow morning first thing. So I'm going to head back to the shop. Well, I went back to the shop just enough time to get the X9 that I was working on the shop back together. The helped get the chopper gear case back together, and I replaced that return pressure sensor for the transmission filter. And yeah, code went away, hasn't come back since. Took it out and running, everything was good, so that combine can go bye-bye. Now going on another service call to a 9460R. All I've got, the information I got, is we got fuel pressure codes, so we need to go lay our peepers on it and see what we got going on. All right, here we go. If you guys can tell me whenever you've seen this tractor before on the channel, what video it's from. I'll give you one hint, it had a transmission problem. 9460R. So the codes we had is low pressure fuel, low, high pressure fuel, low. So anytime you see that, you want to diagnose your low fuel pressure system first, because that's got to work in order to have high pressure. And if we go to our readings here, I'm just running it. See if we can get this thing to act up. Well, it still seems to be keeping up. Just sitting here with no load. I got the fuel filters changed, so I'm gonna take it out and run it. Things are looking a little bit better. We're gonna put it under a load. Well, I've got it working under a load here. Fuel pressure is still looking good. Maybe it just had some bad fuel filters. There was some scum in the bottom of those. Well, the bottom of the water separator was pretty nasty. And I don't know how many hours they had on. They weren't labeled. Well, that was an easy fix. I'll take that all day long. I guess we'll go on to the next service call. Not sure what it is yet. All right, well, next project is we came back to the Cummins that we need to do an oil thermostat in. So I've already got the coolant drained, and we're gonna take these belts off. Probably gonna get this support out of the way. We'll get that water pump out and get the water pump housing out. Might have to get the alternator and stuff out of the way too. We'll have to see. All right, so we got all the belts and the tensioners off, and we're gonna get the bolts out of this water pump. These are actually a 14 millimeter head. Of course, we're using the Milwaukee Gen 2 stubby. Separate this water pump. It's gonna make a mess, I just know it. There it goes. Gotta get that O-ring wiggled out of there. At least the impeller's in all one piece. That's a plus. I pulled one of these out once. If you guys can tell me what video that is, get extra bonus points. This propeller was exploded into pieces and the bearing of the water pump was all in pieces. My pig mat's coming in clutch. So I'm gonna have to take this whole alternator support off. Because it's in the way too. Forgot about that. There we go. One more. Got it. There we go. There it is. Okay. Oh, yeah. Boy, I look forward to putting that back up in there. Whew. That's a chunk. Okay. So now we're going to take this water pump housing off. And these bolts are 13. Gotta use a wrench to get that one broke free. Probably that one too. That's the right tool combination. I'm killing it on not making a mess, Jerry. Just want to point that out. I'm killing it. Oh, come on. There. Oh. There, that's what it looks like when everything's out of the way. So this pipe goes into your EGR cooler. This one here is going right into the engine. And this one into the engine too. And it's just O-rings. So here, we've got our little plug right here. We can take this out because this right here is our oil cooler and we have an oil thermostat. So we can bypass the oil cooler whenever the engine's cold and not cool the oil, allow the engine to warm up, and then that thermostat will open, and then we'll have oil going into our oil cooler, which gets cooled by the engine coolant. All right, 19 mil Allen. Rag over that. All right, so with that plug out, inside the hole is your oil thermostat. And see that snap ring? So I got to get that snap ring out and then we can pull it out. All right. Yummy. Well, we got a little snafu. This new thermostat is not the right one. This one actually is supposed to be for an engine 770,000 serial number and below, and then this thermostat is for serial numbers higher than that, and our engine is an 800,000 serial number. So I had to look up a different part number, and we're going to get that in tomorrow, and hopefully that's the right one. So I'm going to go ahead and yank the engine coolant thermostat out right there. Take that cover off. I'm going to have to get this elbow out of my way, but then I can unbolt it and sneak the thermostat out. So no matter what you do, when you pull that thermostat out, this is the new one I already got in there, but you pull that thermostat out, it's going to leak a bunch of coolant everywhere. Anyway, so here's the new gasket and new thermostat. I got the surfaces cleaned up. I'm just going to put it back together. All right, well, I went as far as I could go on that one. It took some doing to figure out the right part number thermostat, but I think I finally got the right one coming. I MD'd it, so that means machine down, so they'll overnight it. So I should have it in the morning, but unfortunately, you guys aren't going to be able to see me do that on this video because I'm going to end videoing after today so you guys can get this content. So immediately I tell my bosses, you know, what's going on, and then got another service call to go on. So as soon as you get to a stopping point on one, there's always another service call. There's very rarely is there nothing else to do, especially this time of year. So Now I'm driving about 30 minutes to another 9570R with a Cummins in it, but it has emissions faults. Go figure. It's throwing the code for the differential pressure sensor for the exhaust filter. So I'm gonna go see what's going on with that. Found it. So I had a bunch of exhaust differential pressure codes here. So I pulled the cover off here, and this pressure probe here that goes to your differential pressure sensor, this was actually loose in there and I could wiggle it around. So I blew out the threads real good on here and in there, and I'm going to reinstall it, see if I can get it to tighten up and seal. All right, so we got that tightened up. I like how it feels now, and then I put an extra little worm clamp on there, keep that a tight seal, and you can't turn these anymore. And I just go ahead and do it on both of those. So now we're going to give it a try now that we know we don't have any air leaks on our hose, our sensing hoses. Still might have an issue with this pressure sensor, but we need to eliminate the leaks first, and then we'll give it a try and run it and see what happens. I'm going to give it the old Boy Scout try. All right, well, I just got back to the shop because I had to stop and look at a 9510R that just decided to puke all the coolant out of the coolant tank, and it lost like 7 gallons of coolant and got up to 230 degrees. I think we might have a blown head gasket issue on this tractor, so tomorrow I'm gonna have to go bring the combustion gas tester to see if we're getting any combustion gas in the coolant. I'm also gonna check the EGR cooler as well. And yeah, so and then if all that checks out okay, then we can also put a pressure tester on the coolant tank and run under load and see if we're building more than 15 psi. If we are, it's more than likely a head gasket. So appreciate you guys watching. Like this video, subscribe below, comment, let me know how I'm doing, and until next time, keep that green iron moving.